The Great War finally ended in 1918 after 4 years of destruction in Europe. The Allied powers defeated the Central Powers officially on November 11th. From the first gunshot fired in 1914 to the 11th hour, on the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918, the Great War took its toll on human life. 8 million were killed in battle, 2 million died of illness and disease, 21 million were wounded, and 8 million were taken prisoner or went missing. Some towns and villages lost every single one of their male members that could fight. The war also costed countries billions in expenses, ranging from 35 billion to 40 million, depending on which country you were a part of. After the war ended and the Allied powers won, the Big Four of the United States, Great Britain, France, and Italy met in Paris, France, at the Palace of Versailles to discuss the end of the war and the future of the nations around the world. Woodrow Wilson, the President of the United States at the time, proposed the League of Nations in his 14 points. The League of Nations was an organization designed for international cooperation that was established on January 20th, 1920. The League of Nations proposed that it is the right and duty of all states to join the prevention of aggressive war by a state. Wilson wanted to promote world peace, and he thought that the League of Nations could bring that to everyone around the world. This photo on the slide represents all the countries who joined the League of Nations. All the countries in the dark blue joined the League in pursuit of world peace. As you can see, the United States never joined the League of Nations. Wilson proposed it and other countries joined it, but the United States Senate voted against joining the League of Nations. One of the biggest opponents of joining the League of Nations was the man pictured here. Henry Cabot Lodge was an American congressman and didn't think it was a good idea for the United States to take up in foreign affairs and join the League of Nations. In 1920, after not joining the League of Nations, the United States started to focus on domestic affairs such as women's rights and prohibition. Individuals like Henry Cabot Lodge thought it best for the United States to close its borders and become an isolationist country. After learning of the destruction and cost of World War I, the Senate did not want the United States military to get involved with conflicts overseas. The United States began to exclude Europeans, Chinese, Japanese, and other Asians in their immigration acts moving forward. The United States faced a lot of backlash after not joining the League of Nations in 1920. Many countries were especially upset at President Wilson for not having his country's support for the system that he designed. The League of Nations would eventually fail due to many reasons. First and foremost, the United States didn't join. The United States became an outsider, and the countries of Europe became bitterly divided. Another reason why it failed was the terms of the Treaty of Versailles were unfairly placed on Germany. It made it seem like the League of Nations was a punishment group rather than a group that wanted to create world peace. The League of Nations was a good idea, but it was poorly executed. The failing of the League of Nations ultimately gave success to the United Nations in the future after World War II. The United Nations learned from the mistakes of the League of Nations. The United Nations is a prime example of what the League of Nations could have been. The United Nations was established in 1945 and is still maintaining international order today.